Put your attention on what it is you want. Identify the top one, two, three things that you actually want in your life. Doesn't have to be the top big three things. It could be, but it could also just be the top priority three things now that you want. And put your attention on those things daily. Notice how you make that difficult and strenuous. Notice the limiting beliefs. Write it all down. Release that stuff. Okay, so you're going to be doing that every day. And I understand that's an oversimplification, but you can work with at least that. Now, when you do that, what's going to happen is that in your life, there are going to be things that will happen that run contrary to what it is that you want. Or at least on the surface, it will seem like it's contrary to what you want. Right? So you might have a goal, a financial goal. You say, I want, my goal is to have $1 million. Okay. So you start to imagine, I have $1 million, I got the $1 million in the bank, and you notice all the limiting beliefs and all the ways you make that difficult. And you start to release that stuff. So it becomes easier and more natural. So eventually you might get to the point where you start to feel like, oh yeah, it starts to feel like, yeah, that's true. It's natural. I have the $1 million, which is a good sign. But then what happens is people will report, well, but instead of having the $1 million on the outside, now I've got new debt, like I just got hit with this new debt. And so then they start to have resistance to that. They start to feel all kinds of unpleasant stuff in response to that. They feel fearful, angry, resentful. They're blaming others. They're saying, well, it's this person's fault. It's that agency's fault. It's this, it's my parents' fault. It's the government's fault. It's whoever's fault. They're looking so upset about this. It's not fair. And it's Joey's fault because he said this was going to work and it's not working. So here's where acceptance becomes very, very, very important. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand at first because they're understanding of, they have an understanding of the law of attention, but it's somewhat superficial. So the understanding, it's an appropriate understanding of the law of attention, which is that the law of attention is whatever you put your attention on, that's what grows. So they think, well, if I'm putting my attention on the $1 million, then that should be growing, and I should definitely not have debt because debt runs contrary to the $1 million. However, still it's superficial, and I'm going to clarify that here. So number one is understand what that kind of superficial understanding causes people to overlook is that as soon as they are shown something like debt or whatever it is that runs contrary to what they want, they're putting their attention on that and missing out on the fact that they're using the law of attention to now grow the thing that they don't want. So this is why acceptance is so important, because if you're resisting it, you're putting your attention on it and growing it. It's not going to help to continue to resist the thing that you don't want. The other thing is this. So a lot of the time, we don't have eyes to see. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So, I've used this metaphor before of a house and the furniture. So the house is like your life, and the furniture is what you're manifesting in your life. So you've already got the furniture in your house. You've already got the stuff that you've manifested in your life. You've already got all that stuff there. Now you say, I want to change it. So I want to put new furniture in my house. Instead of having the old way, I want the new way. So in my imagination, I'm imagining all the new furniture and, behind the scenes, all the new furniture is being manufactured and now it's being brought to my house. Well, it's not going to work for me to just try to shove in the new furniture because I've got all the old furniture in there. So I now need to remove the old furniture before I can move in the new furniture. So this is kind of what's happening in these situations where you're imagining I have the $1 million. I feel comfortable with $1 million. It's natural to have $1 million. It's totally me to have $1 million. Every day I have $1 million. It's fantastic having $1 million. I'm doing wonderful things with $1 million. And it starts to feel very natural and real. Now it's basically like that furniture is there outside the house. Now you're presented with, well, I've got existing furniture. The existing furniture is the debt. And even though it might show up as new debt, it might show up as whatever, it's like, this is the old furniture. Now calling for your attention so that you can allow it to be moved out. It's like the movers are there and they're like, gee, boss, what do you want us to do with this old furniture? And when you resist it, you're like, don't move the furniture out. Keep it there. It's important to me. I love that old furniture. I need it there. Well, then what do you expect? You've just given the order. Keep the old furniture. I want that old way. I want the old consciousness. I don't want anything to change. So you're just working against yourself in that situation. So the acceptance is basically like, again, imagine the movers are there and they're presenting you with the furniture and they're like, you want us to move this out? And the acceptance is, yes, go ahead and move that out so that the new furniture can move in. That would be the best thing that you could do. Don't abuse or misunderstand the principles and use them against yourself. So you want to accept as a way of allowing the continuation of what you've already set into motion. So some other information that can be helpful in understanding this. So there's also a law, which is the law of cause and effect. And so everything that exists has a cause or causes. It's a chain of causes. And this is like all the laws. This can be understood on many levels. So just keep that in mind. But through the lens of time, it can be understood that causes exist in the past. And so if we view it from that lens, of the lens of time, then it's helpful to understand that whatever it is that you're experiencing now in your outer world is the result of past causes. So if the debt shows up now, it didn't just happen out of nowhere. It happened as a result of past causes. So why are you going to waste your energy fighting with the thing that's just showing up as a result of past causes? It's like you ordered the pizza and the pizza delivery guy is showing up with the pizza. Why are you going to be upset with the pizza delivery guy? Pizza delivery guy is just doing his job. You ordered the pizza. So in the past, you ordered up whatever it is that's happening now. Don't waste your time and energy fighting with that. Just accept it. Just say that, in fact, this can be very, very useful and skillful. You just say, okay, look, that's interesting. I hadn't previously realized that I had done this, but now that it's here, I can take a look and see, how did I produce this? What did I do to order this? Because I don't want to keep repeating that, right? If I have not already made those changes to release that stuff, I want to do that now. I want to release that stuff now. So fighting with it, resisting it, getting upset and frustrated about it does not open me up and allow me to understand and learn. Instead, it just keeps the same thing stuck. So acceptance is very, very, very important. It's the gateway that opens everything for you. So you want to step through that. The other lens that you can understand cause and effect through, I mean, I'm sure there are many, but another important lens is the lens of inner and outer. So the outer is always the effect and the inner is the cause. So whatever it is that's happening outside, don't waste your time fighting with that. Absolutely a waste. Don't do that. So you want to always move your attention to the inside, because the inside is the cause. So if on the outside the debt shows up, then just accept it. Just say, this is the natural consequence of whatever that cause is. So the cause, again, can be understood through the lens of time, saying that it's a past cause. It can also be understood through the lens of inner and outer, and just understand that it's an inner cause. So what is it that I'm holding inwardly in consciousness that is producing this, so that I can release that? I'm not going to waste my time fighting with the thing that's showing up as an effect on the outside. Instead, I want to turn inside and notice, what is it that I'm doing inwardly in consciousness that produces this effect? Okay, so if you want to manifest things successfully in your life, do yourself a big favor and understand how important this is. Don't fight with anything that's showing up outside. across the board as a blanket statement, don't fight with the things that are happening outside. If you want the changes, make the changes inside and have patience and know that things will happen on the outside in the appropriate times. I'll say one more thing about that. And this also has to do with not having eyes to see. So we might think that whatever's happening on the outside doesn't make any sense in terms of what it is that we're wanting. Okay, it might seem contrary. But again, if you think about it in terms of this idea of like house cleaning, okay, so you want to get rid of the old and replace it with the new, then in part of that process, whatever it is that's there that already has been created, that's existing at the outer level, needs to be cleaned away. So you might not previously have seen all of that. You didn't have that level of consciousness to recognize it. But the amazing thing is that through the process, through the work that you do, that's done for you. Okay, so all you have to do is continue to work with the basic things. Keep putting your attention on what you want. Get clearer and clearer about that so that it becomes natural, effortless, non-strenuous, so that you have complete acceptance of it. Keep releasing anything that interferes with that. If you keep working with that, then whatever happens on the outside, you can know and trust and have faith that that's just a natural consequence of the work, the inner work that you're doing, and that there's just a progression that needs to occur for your desired outcome to manifest. Things just need to move and happen. And if you interfere and you resist, then you just muck it up.